Okay, so good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me. We are going to just share the time with TJ. The idea really was just to share some of my knowledge. I'm in my 25th year of working for Spirit. So, and I always think, oh, no one wants to listen to me. And all my students are like, yes, we do. So I'm going to do some more of these. So this will be a regular thing, I hope, and encouraging other mediums like some of you that are already working. I know some of you are developing, some of you are new, in whatever capacity, to share our knowledge as well. Okay, so don't be afraid to help us answer a question with me. Okay, so because I'd like to hear your side. We all have different thoughts, different ideas, different experiences. So it's for us really. Okay, so and you will see in the group there are some Dragonfly Academy members where it says DA. These lovelies are the first to join my academy, which is a membership to my teaching programs and my residential programs, and that gives you a little bit of a bonus sometimes. So you'll have to think of another question. I can see your little face. I don't want this is genuine. We're not going to be like, oh, let's edit that bit. So Sue was going to ask that question for me. I've already blown it for her. So yeah, when you become a member, you get lots of perks really. So and you get to be the first to ask the questions in here. If I'm doing a demonstration, you'll get to find out first. And all those kind of things. All right, so shall we kick off with which one of my DAs has got a question for me? Who's going to kick us off? Leah, have you got a question? Oh, Leanne's got a question ready. Okay, I'm going to put you in the spotlight, Leanne, and I will come and join you. Okay, what's your question, my darling?
So, my first question is, could you tell me a wee bit more about the Working Mediums platform that's coming up? I know that that just starts in June and it's brand new, so I was just looking for some information on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've put it off till September actually, but so people can get over the summer because everyone's very busy at the moment. So I thought I'll give it a couple more months. So, but thank you for asking for that. I was with some of the my teachers recently, and we were saying when I was doing the teaching program, we had each other. Sue was part of that, weren't you, Sue? You know, we had each other for 12 months where we would spend time. Sorry, and you, Sin. Sorry, darling, I didn't see you there. We'd have time for conversation before we did a weekend's workshop, and we had time for each other to discuss what goes on when you are out there in the world working as a medium, you know, and the things that you experience, and sometimes you feel like crushed by that, or you know, empowered by that. How do you get yourself known out there as well, you know, because that's all very difficult. You know, websites, what should we be doing, what's the good platforms to be on? And also I was hoping that the people that are going to join, like myself, that have a podcast, that we could, you know, share each other's podcasts as well and share our knowledge with each other, you know, and kind of create a working mediums community where no one's like top dog in there. We're all the same, you know, and I'm hoping that it will be people that are like myself, very spirit led rather than ego led, that will join, you know. So really a community of working mediums that support each other. And you know, I've been working as a medium for 25 years, so I would imagine that, well, I hope I've been through everything that they could throw at me, but you never know, and you shouldn't say that out loud really because they're listening. So there'll be something. I can see David smiling there. Yes, never say that to Spirit. Hey, it's like, oh, what else would you like to learn, Trace? Nothing. So yeah, so that will be coming now in September, because I really want to make sure that it's publicized, advertised, and yeah, a lot more out there, so that, and videos of myself talking about it. So thank you, Leanne. So I hope you'll be joining me on that journey.
Yeah, I've already joined, I think. I've already joined. I don't know if what's been taken or anything like that, but it's so needed.
Yeah,
I think that it's it's something that nobody else runs, really.
yeah,
You know, like in terms of how stressful the mediumship journey can be,
yeah,
and the highs and the lows, you
yeah.
know. So I think that's it's going to be really good, and I'm really excited for it. So
Thank you. Some of the, I mean, we had great conversations, didn't we, Sue and Cindy, when we were doing the teaching program, and just things like, and just support, being supportive as well. And like obviously you live in Scotland and work up there, you know, David, you're down, sorry to interrupt, to call you, but you're down south, aren't you? You live down south. So somebody like David and yourself getting to know each other, there could be opportunities of David coming up to Scotland and work in your area, and you come down to David's, down south to David, and having mediums all over the country as well, because they are all in my community already. We can kind of like buddy up as well, so I just that is my dream for it, if you like, collaboration. And as Spirit want us to be an army, like side by side. That's what they've been talking about for the last couple of years. So let's join the army together. Yeah.
Good.
Thanks, darling.
I think when you're independent as well, you don't have apart from obviously our circle that's online, but when you've not got an in-person circle, you don't have that same kind of connection with people. We're very lucky with our community, so it's a good thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, darling. Okay, so who's next? Who would like to ask the next question? Ingrid. Okay, right, let me have to excuse me with the technology, but if you're watching this, it will not be professional. Ingrid, you're in the spotlight.
Which is my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
There you are, yes.
In the healing world, our insurance says that we can't do any sort of mediumship when we're giving healing, which I find difficult.
I think Spirit find it difficult as well, don't they? Because if you're in that situation and you're in the energy and the auric field, the etheric field of your client, and someone in Spirit wants to make themselves known, it's very difficult to kind of just say no, thank you. So I think I would and I have let people know when I'm a Reiki master, an angelic Reiki master, and if I have had Spirit join me, as you know, as a medium, you can't just turn that bit of yourself off. I will just let people know that there could be somebody to come, and if they say no, then I will just almost like just talk in my mind to the person and almost like relay through the energy that I'm giving, so the message is relayed through the energy rather than through my voice. But I've had messages myself where one young lady quite a few years ago now was having Reiki with me, and she had ovarian cancer, and very scary, isn't it? Well, any form of that awful word is. And her mum had passed with that, and this young lady had it in her mind, she was only in her early 30s, that her mum had passed, same thing, almost like giving herself that I'm going to go as well, and her mum wanted to come in and reassure her that it was the same but different, and because her energy was almost like shutting herself down rather than the cancer was shutting her down. So I did pass that message on, and I still am in touch with that young lady, and she even went on to have children, so by with her partner, but surrogate, but she's still a mummy, because she had her eggs frozen, all those kind of things. That's all far too much knowledge, but yes, she's still alive and very happy that her mum gave her that message. So yeah.
I think there's some sort of insurance thing about it, but I couldn't for the life of me see how it had any partition.
No, I think I'm insured for everything that I do, even trance, even sitting here right now, I'm insured in case someone decides to sue me, so because I work all over the world, you never know, so but I think would somebody come after you for doing that? So but you could almost say, I'm in my healing capacity right now, and I'm doing this, and then we stop the healing, and now I'm in my medium capacity for you. So you're insured for that part, and you're insured for that part. What do other healers think about that? Sue, you work as a healer.
Well, I always tell my clients that occasionally things may happen that you wouldn't expect from a normal Reiki healer.
Yeah.
So that, and I do explain that I've done angelic Reiki, and I'm attuned to the angelic realm, and that makes a difference because I can't always control, which I should be able to. I appreciate that. I can't always control what happens, but I always warn them beforehand. And if they get any messages, then I tell them. But having said that, when I was seeing it, oh no, I'm sorry, I'll have to stop because I've just realised what I was about to say.
Yes.
I always warn people, and if they do not want me to connect, then I don't.
Yes, exactly.
I always warn them that it may happen.
Yeah, I think so. David, what about you? You're a working medium. Are you? You've been working as a healer too, I would imagine.
Most spiritual healing, angelic healing, intuitive healing, energy healing. So I try to separate it because in my mind I'm aware that when someone comes for a healing session like Reiki or whatever, they are coming for the healing and not necessarily a message. But I agree, you know, when you are doing that, you can't help but pick up on things, and you know, I'll have people want to come forward. But I like Sue said that I always explain to the customer, look, once you've done the healing, if you'd like to understand, to know what I've felt through the healing or who's come forward, then obviously I'll tell you. Because obviously we must be aware that some people, they don't, although they want the healing, they don't necessarily want to know, or they're already for that spirit connection. So I think that's kind of where the separation is, I think, is knowing that what you're advertising, whether you advertise a reading and a healing, or whether it's just purely healing, and then respect your boundaries and your services as well, is what I'd say.
Totally agree. Totally.
In my experience, whenever those boundaries are crossed, to use my professional judgment as to whether this is just somebody coming in for a chat or whether there's something important that the client needs to know about. And my students will always tell you that one of my favorite things was when I was healing somebody who had been referred to me by his girlfriend, because when they were getting absolutely close, he would always do something that distanced them, that upset her and upset him, and it was a problem. I was healing him, and I had my guides present a massive donkey's head. It was huge, you know, of furry ears, and it wasn't a friendly donkey at all. And I thought, how am I going to say this to this man? Because he was rather a muggle. He'd sort of come on sort of sufferance, because his girlfriend was an ex-client of mine, and so she'd frog marched him in practically. And so I tried pushing the donkey away and thinking that maybe my mind was wandering, but to focus on healing. And so they kept on saying to me, donkey, donkey, donkey. So I just had to say to him, this may be completely off the wall. Tell me if I'm absolutely out of line. But what can you tell me about a donkey? And it happened that there had been a very, very traumatic attack when he was a little toddler. His parents were visiting a friend who had a small holding, and one of the big people were in the farmhouse. They left him playing in the farmyard, and I don't know what he'd done as a 2-year-old, could have possibly done to annoy the donkey, but the donkey attacked him. And the ensuing trauma was sorted by the farmer coming out, taking the donkey away from him, and his mother taking him away from the donkey, making sure that he was all right, and sort of straightening his clothes and generally seeing that he was fine. But she was laughing. And he felt so humiliated. And he... So
that's part of his healing then, I guess, wasn't it? Because the donkey was part of something you needed to release. So exactly. I would say it's part of the healing.
Yeah. But it was mediumship.
Yes.
Rather than healing. So I can't really, in my small mind, have that separation.
I don't think you need to separate it, because when something like that happens, that's something that he needs to acknowledge.
Oh, he did, and
it's for him, the fact that you picked it up.
Yeah, it worked beautifully.
Yes, meant that he could then start talking about that trauma, which he would have been able to before. So that's still healing, even though if you've used mediumship. But he needed that.
Mm.
The thing not to do, as David was saying, was kind of go in as a medium and a healer at the same time. You know, I might pick something up because I'm a medium, but right now we're here for yourself, and make it very clear to your client that that's the reason that you're there. You know, but if you're getting something from spirit, as Sue said, you know, strange things could happen. Especially when you're working with a muggle. Always the best clients. Thank you, Ingrid.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Sue. Right, so next question. Who else would like to ask me a lovely question? Who's going to put their hand up? No one? No one's got another question?
Can I ask you a question?
Who's that?
It's Daryl.
Hello. Yeah. Oh, you said that very, very quietly.
Can you? I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you, but I didn't recognise your voice. Hello.
I would like to know how you, as a trainee, right? It's a couple of things. How do you practice your skills when you're not in your class? Like, because obviously when I'm in your class and we're doing all those exercises, but when you're at home in your normal life, is there something that you can do apart from listening to the power that will help you to sort of sharpen any skills?
Okay, great question. And other than sitting in the power, like you said, I believe that every moment we live is we are developing for spirit, because every experience you have and that you collect in your vocabulary is future evidence or future information for healing or reading, however you're going to take care of somebody. So I think what I would say to everybody is, like, just be aware of every moment that you live, you know. And even like I was talking earlier about the horses making a lot of noise today and the girls sort of like out there screaming. That's not a complaint. Those girls were really enjoying their life out there. But I noticed it. I've kind of like collected it. And I know that over the next coming months, when I'm either doing a reading or if I'm on stage in a church, wherever I am, that will become evidence for me. You know, those sounds will become some of my evidence. So I think sometimes people get a bit too hung up on, I've got to practice like 24/7, you know. So living is already bringing you vocabulary. So, and you know, sometimes when people say, oh, I've had like 6 months out or something like that, so I've wasted everything that I've learned, or I haven't done it for so long. But you're doing it every day because you're living, you're breathing, you're empaths. You can't change that. You're being empathic every moment. You might walk down the street and just see somebody and just think, oh, I hope they're okay, or what are they doing? Do you know, like when you're drawn to people, that is you sending out your energy. I'm not talking about going to read for somebody in the street, because that's
I had one today like that.
Yeah.
Just somebody that came to see me, and it was a work thing. She came to see me about my IT.
Yeah.
But it just so happened that we absolutely connected with what our children had been going through.
Yeah.
Which was like like strange, but not strange. You know, it didn't surprise me, because I think the universe puts people together that need to sort of talk or just, you know, can help each other type thing.
So that wasn't you doing a reading for somebody, but
no,
I know, but that was you just being empathic and compassionate and being a good human, you know. And I think sometimes people forget that is just as good, you know. I mean, Kate and I, wherever we go, we meet lots of different people. We kind of collect people everywhere. Even at breakfast the other morning, you know, a guy that used to be a musician that's going through cancer treatment, you know, just having a conversation with them, we collected each other, you know. So there's that he gave me, you know, I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh, this will make a good message one day. I was just listening to that man and having a conversation, you know. So, and you feel empathic towards people anyway, don't you? So
I feel very empathic, but I feel like my life, my normal life, my business life has almost kind of ground to a halt, because I want to be more involved in this. And I've spent so much more time doing things to do with being empathic. And is that how it would go?
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to be full-time working accounts and doing all that, and then slowly it became part-time accounts and part-time doing my readings, and then full-time doing my readings, and then letting someone else do my accounts.
And how would you know what part you'd get into? Like, let's just say that I was meant to be a healer or something. How do you know where you should be, kind of thing?
See, I feel we're drawn to many different things. It's like David was saying just now, being a medium, being a healer. And I think we should all kind of experience lots of different parts of being a medium, being a light worker, a spiritual worker, whatever you want to call that. Because even doing like a Reiki 1 attunement, for example, lifts your energy to the universal life force energy, so it helps. And I've taught working mediums angelic Reiki 1 and 2, where they've done that with me, and their mediumship has changed. It's gone up a gear, it's gone up a level, because you're reaching higher. So I think you will find where your bag is. But if you look at me, I do my healing. I do my workshops, I work in theatres, I work in churches, I do readings. I sound like I'm showing off now, but I wouldn't be able to just do one thing. So if I was just
I know, but some people go into a certain thing, don't they? Because being a newbie, I'm not really sure where I'd be yet, but
I would just enjoy it all. Just throw yourself into everything that draws you. But say I was going to put on a numerology course and you were thinking, that's not for me, then don't go. But if you're like, oh, I'm intrigued, I'm interested, then do it.
That everything interests me. That's the thing. I
want
to
know.
Me.
I like to know everything. David's got it as well.
That's why I've got so many questions, but I'll shut up now and let someone else.
It's not a silly question at all. It's not a silly question. But again, I would just say, enjoy the moments, enjoy every moment that you spend with not just the spirit world, but with the living world as well.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Bring that energy towards you, and that'll make your soul shine. That's what I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, darling. Thank you very much. Okay. Anybody else got a question for me? Who's itching to ask me?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can. Annette, I'll come to you next, my little lovely. Yes.
Okay, so this is going to sound really stupid, and I apologise. But can you be? So when I started developing, I was quite well, and then when I've started to develop, it's like I've got like all these different ailments coming on now. It's like they're making me slow down for work to kind of be more into like mediumship, like, because obviously that's what I want to do. I want to like learn more and more and more. But it's like they're slowing me down from, I used to work like 72 hours a week, and now they've like really cut me in half, kind of thing. Can they do that too, because that's the path they want you to take?
I think what you have to remember is when you're developing as a medium, I feel, and I don't know what other mediums think about this, but I think you need a very strong psychic grounding to be able to then work with spirit, because as a psychic, we're feeling living. As a medium, we're psychically feeling spirit, aren't we? So, and psychic work, if you aren't taking care of yourself, can be exhausting. You can't catch anything that anybody, if you were working with somebody that's got an illness or a disease, you can't catch anything. But if you're working more psychically in a mediumship way rather than mediumistically, you're using twice as much energy. And that's where a lot of mediums get burnt out, because they're not using pure mediumship, and there's a lot of that happening right now, and we see it all around the country. I'm sure, David, sorry, keep pointing at you, but you're a working medium. A lot of people are not allowing spirit to flow. It's a psychic medium. I am a psychic medium, but when I stand up for spirit, I am pure medium. I do not go on a psychic link. My messages are from them, not from a psychic point of view. So I think you've got to, if you want to work as a medium, get your psychic stuff, get that grounded. Okay, make sure you give yourself time to sit in your power as well. That's like going to the gym for spirit, isn't it? So, and and also I would say the same as when Daryl was asking about what else can she do, you know, the working environment that you work in is very psychically heavy, you know. So you've got to remember that sometimes if you've had a hard day at work, psychically feeling all that emotion, all that energy, then don't go to a class in the evening. Just take some time out. That time that you would be in a class and going into different rooms and things like that, just sit for spirit. Just sit and just let them almost like recharge you, you know. Okay, so I think the recharging that you need.
Okay, thank you.
And they will put blocks in your way if you're doing something they don't want you to do. They'll put boulders and blocks in the way. It's like, no, you're not going that way, you're going that way. They definitely do that. Okay, thank you, darling. Annette. I forgot what your name was then. I didn't. I was going to call you by your nickname, but I won't.
I know what you were going to do.
No, I'll call you Ms. Hadley. Okay. Yes, Ms. Hadley, what can I do for you?
I just wanted to talk about auras, as you know. Well, you know that I've been doing a bit with that recently, and discovered that I can't actually see them or colours. And as you said, some people don't see, they feel. But is it possible that it's something that might develop? I mean, you know, in some people, does it, or is this, I won't ever be able to see?
I think it depends on the individual. As you know, I'm very greedy. I have all the clairs, but I believe the reason I have them all is because I teach. So I need to be able to take care of a clairvoyant, a clairaudient, a clairsentient, etc., etc. So, but I don't think spirit would walk past and say, oh no, she's never going to see, you know. But as we were discussing in class, I'm an objective clairvoyant. So I see outside, I see spirit physically, you know, in the room, around me, on the walls when I'm in church, as David's experienced. They come out the walls at me. So, but seeing, because of the way the world is so fast now as well, a lot of the work has gone inside, you know, so the clairvoyance is more in your TV in your head, you know, and so you might see colours in your mind rather than see colours with your eyes. So if you're, and I think a lot of natural mediums like myself can see, because we see from birth, and it's never been closed off. So if you've not ever seen spirit, then I'm not saying we couldn't work on it. So now you've given me a task. I'm definitely going to work on it with you in circle, and as you're in my in-person circle as well, you can't hide from me in a Zoom room. And but I don't see why not. I don't see why they would say no if it's something you really wanted to learn. I don't think they would say no. Oh,
okay, yeah. I was just wondering if anyone else had any experience of it.
Yeah. Or anyone else not see and now can see? Thomas, what about
occasionally?
You see occasionally, Sue?
Yeah. Not all the time, though.
Not all the time.
I'm the same. For me, as occasionally I can see it, but if I can't see it, my guides will tell me this is what they've seen, and they walk that way. So that's how I trust my guides to tell me what's happening.
Guys, David, what about you? Are you a clairvoyant medium?
I am, but I use all my clairs as well.
Yeah.
But I don't see auras. I wished I did. I don't see them objectively, but if I'm doing a reading for someone, even if I'm on platform, I'll get the colour put in my head. So I'll hear yellow. No, okay. So and I interpret it that way, but I don't. The only thing I do see is like the invisible ring around someone's head and shoulders sometimes, but I don't get the colour that goes with it. It's a bit more. It's more opaque, transparent. That's probably the word I want to use. Yeah.
It's a bit.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
I'll call that the ready Brett glow. Do you know, like, I don't know how young you are. So if you're of an age, we all know what the ready Brett glow is. you look too young to know what that is. But yeah.
I'm not, but thank you.
That's what I see. And that's but if we can get you seeing that, Annette, then you can, like David, be told what colour is going to come into the aura, you know? So you might just say, okay, I can see that glow, and yes, there's going to be green on a shoulder or red here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But we'll work on it. But yeah, I don't see why not. If you work the way that you're working and the way your confidence has gone up as well with spirit, maybe we can do a little bit of we'll do some exercises in July
Yeah.
when we're back together.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
All right then. Thank you for your question. Who's next coming into my I was going to say into my cupboard then. Who's coming into my spotlight with me? Who else had a question? Leah? Yes. Okay. And Vanessa, I'll come to you next, my lovely. Okay. Right. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
So we talk about vocabulary all the time in class.
Mhm.
And I just wonder how you manage to retain so much knowledge all the time. You know, like when we're doing angels and ascended masters and stuff, and you know their names and what they do and why they do it, just like that. And how do you keep all that knowledge?
Gosh, I don't know. I'm a show off. No. I think when I'm doing something like angels and ascended masters, my team know that that's what's coming up next, you know. So, and it's I almost imagine it like we used to say like Rolodex and filing cabinets, and now we have our own Google. So we're very modern mediums now. So I think that tab that I need, if you like, will be opened. So all that information that I know is stored there, and when I need it, it's more prominent, or you know, more forward in my mind at the time. So
Okay.
but there are a lot of things that I've studied that I used to know that are just not there anymore. It's almost like they've deleted it, and
Okay.
things that you know, when I was the things that I've studied that are not going to be relevant to my vocabulary, I do believe that they've just, no, you don't need that, let's put that in the bin, you know. So it's been filed in the bin. So and like, you know, I used to work in accounts and do all that sort of thing, and now I have to have an accountant to do it, because just my brain just doesn't want to go there anymore, because my brain needs to be with this, you know. So although I'm still very left and right brained, I'm not a complete right brained person. I still have my logical side and my, I would say, a healthy skeptical side on things as well, and I think that's important. But yeah, they just open a tab, that's what I would say. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, darling.
I hope they do that for me then. I want all the knowledge all the time and it's not there.
Yes, there's also menopause, so remember that.
Yeah.
There's a menopause tab, I'm sure. Thank you, darling. Vanessa, hello, my darling.
Hello, how are you?
Lovely.
And you, yeah. TJ, I wanted to ask you about self-confidence, because I didn't have any when I came to Shropshire. But I wanted to ask you what effect it has on our spiritual work with your own personal self-confidence, your own self-belief. Does it make a difference to our spiritual work?
Well, not after seeing the way you worked, my darling. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And one of your messages, as those of us that were there know, really changed someone's life. You changed her life. Charlotte was changed by your message. Absolutely. I don't think you realize the power of your message.
No,
so
not at all.
It was incredible, wasn't it? Those Kate was there, Daryl, wasn't it? That beautiful message that she gave. So I think I don't remember, your team know you, so they know you lack confidence. They know how to give you things, and even sort of when you're in a teaching situation, they'll know the teacher that can look after you, you know. So you probably saw when I was teaching, or you know, there was 22 of you or whatever, everyone had a different TJ, you know, no one was treated the same, because you're all individual people. So I think by finding the right person and being able to, you know, that I give you your confidence for now, you know, and your team give you your confidence, and then eventually it's like I see you as like a little toddler, and once we get you to school, you know, you'll be carrying your own bag, you know. So I always see my students as like my children. So I've got some teenagers now, you know, I've got some grandbabies, and so I think they're not going to walk away from you, because they're working with you already. You work as an incredible medium, and your confidence will eventually catch up. I mean, there were times, and people that know me now would never believe it, that when I I went on tour with Colin Fry and Tony Stockwell. Why don't you? You know, it's like, you're going on tour. Lovely. And I was sitting there listening backstage, and I'm like, surely I'm just going to take the water out there. I'm not actually going to have to go out there and do this. You know, I don't even know if I'm a medium. You know, I was having all that crisis of confidence at side of stage. And I used to keep my makeup at the side of stage because I would be crying before I went on. You know, have you ever seen any photos of me like that? I'd be like, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I can do this. Then put my makeup on, go out and just say, help me. And then Spirit used to just turn up, do their thing. And then I'd be like, thank God that's over till tomorrow night, you know. So so in the beginning, I was like shaking nervous, you know. So and not really. I think there's a lot of things to that, isn't there? It's, I don't want to let Spirit down. I don't want to let the audience down. I didn't want to let the boys down. I didn't want to look stupid, you know. So there's all of those things. So it was my ego as well as everything else, you know. And sometimes I'd be told, well, if you're not very good tonight, you know, your career could be over. And I'd be like, you know, there's only 3,000 out there tonight, so it's fine. Sort of like,
but that's a lot of pressure. I mean, yes. I have been in a circle since your course.
Yes.
And the same thing happens. I stand up and go, uh-oh, nothing.
Yeah.
Until I open my mouth and it falls out.
Exactly. Yes. And that's it. The best bit of it, and Spirit still say this to me, and Kate will validate that. Before I go out on stage, the last thing I hear is just get out of our way. That's what I hear. Okay. I say that to her, it's like, oh yeah, I've had my warning, get out of the way, you know. So, and they will say that to me. I then relax because I think they're here, it's all going to be all right, you know. So we'll get you there, and I'm sure if you're in a circle that's taking care of you, you will get there too. And it's having the right people around you, isn't it? And the right, finding your tribe for your development, you know, because we're all you know, all us mediums are all different and similar and different in so many different ways, you know. So yeah, find the right team. Are you in a circle in where I met you in Woking, in that area?
Woking, yes, yeah.
Lovely. David works there. You'll see him. You must.
I know. I've seen David.
Yes, yes, he works in that church.
Yeah, we have met.
Yes, yeah. So there you go. You got beautiful people around you to take care of you.
Certainly have. Very fortunate.
Yes, very lucky.
Yeah.
Yes,
all right, thank you.
So just chin up, big girl pants on, get out of the way and just talk.
Yes, I've made a lot of changes since we met last.
I can see it in your energy already.
Thank you.
Good girl, proud of you.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay, who's next? Who's going to ask a question?
I've got a question, TJ.
Yes, Sarah. Hello, lovely. Let me put you in my spotlight. Da, da, da. What do you want to ask me, sweetheart?
I just wondered, when I was down with you at Shropshire, you said to me about being a healer, and I was going to be an angelic healer. And I was just wondering, is there something that you see in people? Because I came home and the next day I went to my own church and I got a message from Spirit saying about me being an angelic healer. And I just thought, is there something that you see around people, or, you know, which way do you sort of get that? I don't know how to put the question properly, but
I know. So when I work with my students, as you probably saw, I make it a part of my purpose to be there to get to know all of you. You know, so and I was new. You know, you and I were new to each other for a teaching situation, so I'm always looking in your energy, even if you're doing one of the exercises. Is she okay? How's she feeling? Can I do that? Can I push her? Can't I push her? Do you know? So I'm looking at all the energy that goes on. And when we first meet, you know, when you tell me what you were there for and what you've done, I'm looking at your aura and your energy to see what you have done, if you're telling me the truth as well, because some people don't always tell me the truth. And then I'm like, yeah, you've done that as well. Oh yeah, I forgot about that bit. You know, so not you didn't do that to me, my darling. And so
I understand.
It's like your purpose and where you're going to be. It's like I get a flash of the things that you can do and that's possible for you as well. You know, because remember, it's free will if you decide. But I love the fact that was given to you at Shropshire, and then you went back to church, and Spirit are like, right, we're going to make sure she's listening to this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's how I felt. The thing is, down with me, obviously I'm down in West Wales, and I tried asking a friend of mine after the service because I know she's done angelic on me.
Yeah.
She's done the healing on me. But obviously it's new to me to come to a teaching situation and stuff. I've been to a few sort of shows where people are doing healing and things, but I've never looked into actually doing it myself. So I tried asking her, but she said to me, well, I'm not quite sure because one person's given it up in this area, but I think this lady still does it, you know. But there is down with us in West Wales, it's still quite a new thing in a lot of ways. And because I haven't been involved with a lot of the going to workshops of being shown or taught, I don't actually know where to go and find a teacher that could teach me that, you know.
Then send me an email and I will find one for you. I know someone in Wales that does it. So yeah.
Okay, I'd appreciate that because obviously, you know, I'd like to look into it more, you know. I don't know what type of, you know, how I get on with it, but I'd like to look into it.
You'll absolutely love it. And like I said, whenever I've had anyone do angelic Reiki with me, they've kind of leveled up spiritually as well, you know. So it's beautiful and it's magical. And I never, if you'd have asked me that about 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, I would have said, nah, not doing that bit, that's not for me. And then in 2020 the angels kept turning up, and so because I was locked down like everybody else so they got me then. And then Annette and I did our first one together, didn't we? We did angelic Reiki 1 and 2, not in lockdown, obviously, when we were allowed out, Your Honor. We did it in the right way.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do it the right way. I want to do it with somebody that can, you know, teach me properly in the thing, you know, of doing it properly. I don't want to just go out and, you know,
we'll find you the right person. Susan might have a little trip to Wales.
Thank you very much anyway.
I like Wales.
Sue's one of mine, angelic Reiki master now as well. So yeah, where you live in, we won't say where you live, but she lives sort of in the middle of the country.
Yeah, it's I think it's about a couple of hours from Wales, I think.
Yeah. They might have already found her. She'll come to Wales. She loves a bit of a trek, didn't you, babe?
Oh, I certainly do.
Okay. I just wondered, that's all. It's just because you said it, and then the very next day I went, and it was a very experienced medium working that night in our church, and she gave me a message, and it was linked to people that had been giving me messages when I was in Shropshire. And I just thought, well, I'm back in Pembrokeshire now, and you know that the same message came through. She said to me, she even knew I'd been away on a course, and she said, but you know, you were told then that you should be doing angelic healing, so why aren't you looking into it? And I was a bit blown away, to be honest, that it followed me straight back, you know.
I love that. I love how they work, isn't it? It's still magical. Oh, it still makes me go goosebumpy. It's still magical. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask that question because obviously I didn't discuss it with you afterwards, and I thought, well, tonight's an opportunity to ask you.
You got me.
So thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. You're welcome. I look forward to watching you.
Can I just ask on that, likewise, if you see somebody and you think that really they shouldn't be doing it, or it's not really the right thing for them, because like if it was me, I'd want to be told. Do you know what I mean? Would you say that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I think you'll probably see the people that I have around me in my mentorship groups, as you're in my home circle, my in-person circle, everyone that we've got there is capable, aren't they? Some still might be very new, but everyone can do something, you know. So, and there's also sometimes you get I've had people come to me and tell me they've told me all the amazing things that they can do, and I'm sort of like, I think you're too advanced for me, and I'll recommend somewhere for them to go, you know. So I wouldn't want to discourage them, if you know what I mean, but I wouldn't want them to be under my roof. But if I've got someone that's training with me and is doing something wrong, you know, from spirit's voice, they're doing it wrong, or they're not doing it with the right intention, I will tell them. Yeah. And I don't know if Cindy was there. Were you there when I had a very awkward man few years ago that was she's laughing, so she remembers. And
yeah, I remember.
and very rude, and was using his messages almost like to belittle other people in the group, wasn't he? Do you remember? And
yeah, not nice. Well, Spirit found a way of sending him on his way.
yes, he's still alive. So
oh yeah, no, not on his way that way.
he didn't go quite that way, but yeah, no, it wasn't. I just won't have it in my groups. I won't have, even when we do our like TJ and Friends at Eastbourne, every single person that walks through that door, whether you've connected with Spirit once, you want to connect with Spirit once, or you're like me, you've been doing it for 25 years, we are all in that building. We're all together for the same reason. We're all there for Spirit and love. And anybody that doesn't want to join that, join that group, stay home. Don't be here with us, because you'll just spoil it. And we've cleared out. There's people that just don't come anymore, and but I just say to Spirit, I do trust them. I just say, don't allow people in my classes that are not there for the good, so
yeah, definitely.
Yes, they've had, and it's a 9-year this year, so they've had quite a clear out. And still going strong, I think. So anyone else want to ask me a question? Alba, did you want to ask something? Abla, called you Alba. Are you enjoying our session?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it very much. Yes, I haven't got a question.
That's okay.
No, it's okay.
I didn't want you to miss it if you did. That's all.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. I am also a medium, healer, and massage therapist, and all in a session, a private session. All of this come together. Like people sometimes they come to me having pain in the back and they didn't know why. Yes. So when I touch them, I get to the reason why and release it. And so they start to be more aware of their body, but also the spirit. It's really amazing sessions. So they all come together. And when I'm on the platform, again, the messages come very, very strong. Yes. And the healing I feel it going. Yes. And people say, tell me, yes, Abla, I felt it, and the crying, but also it's really amazing. So I'm very enjoying it. I've been like yourself since 1992.
Yes.
I've been working since then. So so yes, this is telling my age. I'm not going to say it anymore. Okay.
21 plus VAT. That's all right.
I know VAT.
You started young pup. That's all right. Don't worry about age. That's all right. I don't think Spirit mind about that. I knew an excellent medium that's now on the other side of life. She didn't start working until she was 78, and she finished work when she was 93, and then at 94 she went home. And her husband didn't believe in this, so for all the time while he was still alive, she wasn't able to use her gifts. And then he passed over. She was driving her car at 78 years. And he sat next to her in the front seat and said, I think you should do this. So it took him to get to Spirit to come back and say, actually, this is real. You need to do it. So I don't think it matters if you work for 1 year or for 60 years. If you've helped one person, I always say to everybody, if you've helped one person, that's good karma points, isn't it, when you get to the other side? Yes, so hopefully I've got a few. And you certainly are beautiful with your energy. Yes, thank you for joining us. Lovely to see you. Abla, sorry. Oh, yeah, Alba. Who else has got a question? Annabelle and Ellie, you got anything you want to ask? Yeah.
There. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, girls.
Hiya. So just listening to everybody, I can pick so much up from that in my own experiences of just randomly walking down the street and ending up talking for half an hour, 2 hours to a random person about, whatever. But for my question is, I see Spirit. I can sometimes see the colours around people. Well, quite a lot I can. But I don't know how to connect to get any messages.
Right.
Is that a personal thing, or, will that just be something that's personal that will click with me? Or is it something I've got to learn to do? Or
I think if you can see them. So, and you're seeing, so if you were with me, you'd see one of my family members, or are you seeing historic people?
Okay. Sometimes I don't know who they are. I've seen my dad. I see sort of like what it's like the colour of the moon, like that more than anything, and then there'll be a slight colour with them. Sometimes I can see it's a man, sometimes I can see it's a child.
Perfect. Yeah,
I don't always know who they are.
No, that's okay, but they are more modern rather than being a paranormal.
Oh, okay. Yes, yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So that's what I meant by historic. So going to a circle, and I know you live very near that beautiful church up in Derby. Yes, Forrester Street.
Yes.
Big shout out to Alan and all the incredible people that are there. That's just beautiful. And I must mention Woking as well, otherwise they'll get the right. Yes, but I don't know if you know Alan from up there, David from Forrester Street, Derby. Amazing church. You should give him a call. Yes.
Wonderful. Alan is actually making me and Ellie stand up with him when he comes to the HENA group.
Good.
Next time.
Yeah, but you definitely should. I think sitting in a circle, even if you can get online as well and do online circles, because when you're training, there's nothing better than training in person. Don't get me wrong. My in-person circle is just so different to my online one, but they're both got their own, attributes, if you like. But if you can get into a group and start to work out how it's coming, what's going on, do the exercises. I mean, I'm not a medium that will ask you to meditate before you connect to spirit. I just talk to them. I don't have a ritual. It's just like, it's me and them, let's go, rather than calming your own spirit down, Right. So I think you need to because your energy is quite like mine. You're quite a high energy, aren't you? Quite a buzzy person.
Yes, yeah.
So I think sitting in the power as well to start getting some control over what's going on as well, and what I used to do when I first started, because when I first started there wasn't really anywhere for me to go, so I used to just sit at 9 o'clock at night. I would just sit with spirit, didn't meditate. I don't know how to do that. I'm not very good at meditating at all, but I would just sit there as if I'm sitting there waiting for a phone call, and I'd just wait and see who showed up, how I felt, what was going on, in a very much state just like I am now, not in an altered state. And that's because that's how I work with them now. I don't need to be. I mean, I do go very trancey now, and you've seen.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Some of that, and but yeah, I think development, sitting with the right kind of people, making sure your teacher's not trying to make you a clone of them as well.
Yeah.
The individuals, haven't you? There's a lot of that out there at the moment, unfortunately. So I would join an online circle, get in Alan's group, and you'll start to get control of what's going on, because you've got a great foundation to start from, haven't you?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay. Who else would like to ask me a little question? Thomas, you've been very quiet. Oh, Katie's going to ask me a question, and Maria. Okay, I'll come to you next, Maria.
But no, Tom can go if he wants.
Okay, no, I've already put the spotlight now. So
hello. But because she's joined me, I wondered, because she's a bit spooky, how and when and what do you do to encourage children to be open to spirit, and do you just talk to them, or do you do anything specific?
My answer to that would be just let them be. Just when they're telling you that they can see people, don't. And I know you wouldn't, but back when I was younger, and you'd sort of say, "Don't be silly," that you're telling lies. That was the generation, wasn't it? And so I think just let them be, and Cindy would be great at answering this, because Cindy's little babies, there are not so much babies anymore. I used to do a teenage circle when I had my centre years ago, and Cindy's children used to come, and they weren't quite teenagers either, were they?
No, about 8, 10 and 11.
Yeah, and they used to just come, and we used to just, when I say play, because when with youngsters you can't make it all serious, sit down, meditate, talk to spirit, so we just play games with energy as well, and teach them how positive energy and negative energy, and how to clear their energy, things like that, which it doesn't matter if they never ever look into any form of light work, they're going to understand their own selves, aren't they? That's very important.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's about developing that and just awareness of themselves and what's around them.
Yeah, definitely. Any tips? Because you've got, how many spooky children have you got? In 5?
7.
7.
I think, yeah, just let them be. Like, if they come to you with stuff, then obviously give them the time, listen to them, you know, just go with it. Try not to poo-poo anything that they say, you know. Yeah, just let them be them without you kind of putting your own spin on things.
Definitely. Yeah.
Lovely. Yes. So
you're at the beach, so
yeah.
I am at the beach, actually, 3 minutes down the road.
To the beach. Thank you. Thanks, Cindy. Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
It's what Cindy doesn't know about spooky children isn't worth knowing, I don't think. So yes, so Maria was going to ask, who else was going to ask someone? Maria, let me put you in the spotlight with me, my lovely.
Hi. I have a question for you and for everyone, because maybe when you are developing and learning, there's like a path and you are like getting it, and there's sometimes that you feel kind of stuck or disconnected, or like, what is going on? Like, I'm not hearing, I'm not seeing. What do you do, or what is that stuckness? Or
so well, I can see you nodding there, David. I'm going to bring David in as well on this. So I personally, when I go through that stuck part, when it all goes quiet, I've noticed that even that happens to me now. It all goes quiet at certain points, and I'm like, you know, like over Christmas, if I haven't done mediumship for 2 weeks, you know, I'm like, am I still a medium? What's going on? You know, and but when I'm in the quiet, or when they put me in the quiet, that's when the most is happening, I think. You know, it's like everything I have learned is almost being stored, you know, then they're having a clear out, and then it goes again, you know. So what about you, David? Do you get that lull? I think we've all had it, haven't we? Why are we even doing this? Do you know what? I'm not even a medium, you know, all those questions, all those things. What about you, my love? What would you say?
Yeah, I think looking back in hindsight, it still happens, right? But at the beginning of my development, it was very much the same. And what I learned in those quiet periods is that's our time to assimilate. That's our time to recognize, okay, what is it that I learned during that part of before the silence happens?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that's one part of it. And what I also learned is that there was a period where I had done a couple of private readings, and I came away from them thinking, God, they were rubbish. Why was I not seeing that as I normally would? And when you get in your head, that's an automatic block, because you lose your trust in yourself. You think, why am I doing this? And should I be doing it? And am I medium? And all those questions going on in your head. And what I didn't realize at the time, so again, why I say, you know, looking back in it retrospectively, is that spirit started to work with me in a different way. So that's when my clairaudience kicked in. And because I wasn't paying attention to what I was hearing in my head, I was looking for it rather than hearing it. I thought, well, I've lost it then. I've lost my connection, because I normally see, but I didn't realize that they were now trying to talk to me as well. And so in those moments where we beat ourselves up thinking, I'm so rubbish and I shouldn't be doing this or whatever, it's kind of not stressing out too much about it. It's kind of trying to relax into it and remembering, okay, this is just temporary. This is for me to learn and to learn from it. So that's what I say. When you feel like there's a block there, don't see it as a block, see it as a detour. So there's a better way to get to that point in your development. So I think sometimes when you keep trying to hammer at something over and over again, nothing changes, because you're only seeing something in one way. But actually, if you look at it as, well, maybe there's a different way for me to get to that part. And I'll say one more thing, and I'll be quiet. But I'll tell something from another medium. Because at the beginning of my development, I'm a little bit impatient by nature. So at the beginning, when it's all exciting and, you know, your foot's on the gas and you're going to practice, know this, do this, fingers everywhere. You miss things. So the analogy I'll give you is, imagine this journey is like a train journey. You got on that train. Don't think about it getting from to your destination like that. Think of it as that journey. Look out the windows, see what you're meant to see, experience what you're meant to experience. The people you're meant to meet, whether it be a mentor or a teacher or whatever, some of them will get on the train with you, some of them will stay with you, some of them won't, some will get off at a certain stop. But take in what you're meant to take in. Sometimes you might stop at a station and it stays there for ages and you think, why am I not moving forward here? But then eventually, you'll move forward again. Once you've sat there and thought about why you're there, it'll move on again. So that's what I would say is don't necessarily focus on where you're going. Just learn those things as you're meant to learn as you go on that journey.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah. I've added Sue and Cindy, who are two of my teachers. Sue, what about you? I think David's covered. I love that analogy. I normally say ladders, like you go up, and then all of a sudden you're up the ladder, and then there's a snake. Come back down, learn this all over again. So I like the train. I might nick that.
It definitely. I mean, what you said, David, resonated with me because I did struggle for a little bit, and it was me getting in my head. And eventually I was like, okay, you proved to me that I can do this. And yes, they certainly did prove to me that I can do it. It was a big shock, but I now have absolutely no doubt. But it was me getting in my head that was blocking it. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't trust what I was getting. I mean, I knew that what was in there wasn't from me. But it was me blocking myself. And now I'm very unblocked.
I'm glad to hear that. Very good. Sind, what about you, my lovely?
I was just thinking that reminded me of, like, say, when you're training, like you go to the gym or you do any kind of sport, it's a bit like your body gets used to doing what you do and you kind of have a plateau for a little while. And then that also brought me into thinking about cycles, like say like the moon cycles, like every time that we have like a retrograde, that means that it's time to kind of like pause and reflect and kind of have a look at what's working, maybe what's not working so well. It's like reevaluating. And then kind of once you've got all that together, then you can kind of move forward. But I think initially in the beginning, it is really hard because also we do compare ourselves to other people, and we think, oh, this person can see auras, that person can actually see spirit, this, that, and the other. Why can't I do that? And so I think it's just about trusting that you have your own gifts and, they're going to come through when you just let go, basically.
I could add one more. So I could add one more analogy to that as well, because the late Mavis Patilla, I heard her say this actually, so I'm not taking credit for what she said. But so we're going through cycles. So you have the unnatural, the natural, the unnatural, and then the natural again. So what she was saying is at the beginning of your development, it feels very natural because you're excited about it. And so you're always getting these hits and you get that adrenaline rush and it's all boom, 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 boom. And then you can go to the next cycle, which is when it feels unnatural, because at that point, because you've done all the fun stuff, you're at the point where you go, oh, well, I've done that, so now I need to be perfect here. And if I'm not perfect, it means I'm rubbish. And it starts to feel really unnatural because you feel like you're trying to pull stuff through because you really want to get everything bang, bang, bang on. But then eventually, obviously there's learning within that, but then eventually it'll come back round to the feeling natural again. But at the same time, that cycle can forever continue because even now I have those days where I think, oh, I don't know about today. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it anymore. So yeah, it's all the journey that we go through.
Just trust in yourself, my lovely, and enjoy the journey. Go on that train rather than the snakes and ladders I'd put you on.
Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my lovelies. Thank you. Anyone else like to ask a question? I think we're coming, like we've nearly finished our hour. Well, we finished our hour, but we don't mind. Anyone else got something they'd like to ask or add?
Can I just ask another quick question, Tracy?
Of course you can, lovely. Yes.
So before, when I started learning, I used to feel spirit. So I used to feel like the man would come here and the female would come here. Now I don't feel them. it's like I know them. I know. Is that my mediumship kind of changing now? Are they teaching me a new thing?
Yeah, very much like what David just said. You know, he used to see, and now he's got his clear knowing coming in. You know, like the voice in your head is started. So you can feel. So you are clairsentient. So now they're working on your clear knowing. So they're giving you the information that way, and then your clairsentience will come back and join it, or they might teach you something else, and then they kind of knit them all together afterwards. So eventually you'll be feeling, seeing, knowing all of those things all at once. You know?
Okay. I thought they disappeared. I'm like, oh, where are you?
No, they've not disappeared. You know, no, you're in for the long haul now. There's no escape. And I know that's a positive thing to say, but sometimes we want to escape, don't we? Thomas, were you going to ask me a question, my lovely? No, not going to hear your gorgeous Scottish voice. No. What about Lil? Anything you want to ask?
I think I asked you everything when I was with you for a week.
Well, ask something that you might think is important for others, because remember, it's not just for us, it's for those that are going to be listening afterwards.
What's the hardest thing that you learned when you were developing? What was the bit that you found hardest? Because I know that you push us really hard for the good, but obviously for the good. But what's the bit that you found hard when you were like in the where we are at the moment?
I think like everybody, I went through the is it my imagination, and am I making this up? And I think every medium goes through that. And if you don't, then you're not a medium. I don't
think, Yep.
So I spoke a lot to my team, Luke, who's my sensible guy. You don't normally get to see Luke, but then that's when I was shown that the information that I'm getting is going through that part of my brain where the imagination is. So it almost gave me permission to say that's coming from my imagination, because that's where it flows through. And once I was given that by Spirit, I kind of let go then. So I just thought, oh, that's all right. That's where it is coming from. I'm not making this up, because I wouldn't. And it's getting that trust as well, isn't it? The trust in them. Once you have complete trust in them, and I couldn't even tell you when that happened for me. It just happened. It just almost like I woke up one day and that was all gone. All the fear, and not the fear of doing it, the fear of hurting someone, not getting it right, letting someone down. Do you know, all of those things with it. So I think, like everybody, I went through the same kind of stages, and so many questions. My first circle leader, Barry, I think I drove him mad, and I was like, I need the answers to all these questions. And I remember one thing he taught me. I was in his home, and there was a bottle of Coca-Cola on the table, and he said, "What is that?" So I said, "It's a bottle of Coca-Cola," and he said, "Yeah." And it's as easy as that. And I was like, what? Drove home, and I'm like, it's just a bottle of Coca-Cola. It's a bottle of Coca-Cola. What on earth? And then I suddenly realised that it's as clear as that. If you be, it's as clear as that. It's a bottle of Coke on the table. It's as clear as that. And I think that was one of the best bits of advice I ever got, because I'm not very trainable. I've been told that, but I don't want to be either. That's why when I work with you guys, I teach you all individually, even if you're in a group.
But I've learned as well with you make it easier than other tutors that I've had throughout the years, because as you know, I've done it a long time, but I've found that you make it simpler.
Well, it should be. I mean, Kate said something like that last night. You were working with the auras, didn't you? And I just explained something, and Kate was like, that was just so simple.
Yep, absolutely.
Just say it, keep it real, keep it sensible as well, and because I think the mediums of the future, we can't be, we need to be left and right brained. We need to be grounded as well as spiritual. We need to do something for the younger generation, so they're going to accept us, and we're not all these crazy woo-woo people, that can't go left without asking their spirit guide, and if I asked Paddy, he'd probably send me right twice and then left. You know, he wouldn't pay attention. But
Yeah.
Keeping it real is so important, you know, and keep it basic and simple, because it's, and I've recently worked, I was teaching someone, and they were talking a lot about the chakras and things like that. So I, in my humor, said, if you close your chakras, then you die. And I really offended somebody, and I didn't mean to. And Christina was there, and and I really offended this lady. But the way I teach mediumship and the way I work with spirit is like the old school mediums.
Yeah.
I'm a modern medium with the old school twist, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't, and I don't mean this disrespectful to anyone, but I don't open my chakras to work with spirit. I'm hoping they're open so that I'm alive. You know, I don't meditate. I don't do all of those kind of things. I'm like, I'm talking spirit. That's my job. And this lady was quite an older lady, and her mum was in spirit and had been a working medium. So I said to her, what did your mum say about chakras then? And she was, my mother wouldn't have known what a chakra was. And I was like, exactly my point. Let's not get too caught up in all of these rituals and do this. It's like, you're on the phone. Hello, here's spirit. You know, make it simple, clear. You know? Yeah. Otherwise people, and I think that's why a lot of people that are attracted to me are the ones that know they can do it, but don't know where they're supposed to go for it, because they don't fit some of these boxes of
exactly.
You know, of it doesn't resonate with them, you know. And if it does resonate with you, then that's lovely, but it doesn't. I just don't understand it myself. And Albert, Abla, sorry, I'd like, what's your opinion on that? You've been a working medium longer than me, my lovely. What's your view on that kind of work?
Yes, make it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Very much. I tell people, don't complicate it. Just feel what is happening, and dare to speak. That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's more powerful then. And like you said, when you're working, Abla, you can feel that your audience feel it, not just the person that's getting the message. The whole room feels it, and that's what I love. When I see, if I'm giving someone a message sort of like to the right, and then I see someone on the left that's crying. The first time it happened, I was thinking, what's going on? Have I done this wrong? And I know it was just such an emotional message that they feel spirit in the room. And David as well, that's what we want to bring to the room, don't we? We want to bring, you know, you want your audience to feel it, you know, whether we're laughing or crying or commiserate, whatever. We want that empathy to be boiling over, don't we, in the room?
Can I ask as well, how do you stop yourself if, like, you know, you're just talking to somebody and like something comes in your head? I mean, how do you stop yourself being a medium out of hours type thing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. So I am, when I'm working, I'm working, and when I'm not working, I'm not working, you know. So it's like, you wouldn't walk down the street, would you, and see your hairdresser and say, oh, just cut a couple of inches off of this, you know. So that's how I look at it. And I think I think it's undisciplined, and I think it's dangerous as well to use this out of hours, you know. So unless you know, if I was sitting with you, you know, we're friends, and I was sitting with you and somebody wanted to come in, I'd just say, oh, Daryl, you know, so and so's coming in, because we know each other and your family. It would almost be like your nan turned up because we were having a party, you know.
But if you walk past somebody and you felt this sudden, would you feel this sudden urge to give them a message or something?
I might, but no. And I've got a story, and this is a very true story. I was in, and it's in my book, and I was in Boots, you know, the chemist, the one at Brookfield, which is huge, you know, Brookfield Farm, huge. And there was a lady in front of me. She had a pram. She had a little boy in her pram, little baby, you know. So and she was giving the woman all of this sun cream, you know, and she was giving it back. Now this was January, so it's early in the year. She was putting all this sun cream back, and I was like, do you know when you're nosy? So if you're nosy and you kind of like, you can link in. And I was just watching, and I was thinking, why is she putting all that back? And it was taking ages, and I was in a rush, impatient, obviously. And so I was thinking, this is taking ages. And so then I go into like my altered state zone, if you know what I mean, my little bit of a, And then I looked back at the pram, and then I saw a man lean over, and the baby knew this man, and he was like cooing at him. And he was a spirit man, by the way. And so I'm watching this happen. And then the lady at the desk said, oh, have you cancelled your holiday? You know, whatever she said to her. And she said, my husband died 2 weeks ago in a car accident. So we're not going away. And the first thing I thought was, the last thing I would think about is going back to Boots to return hand cream, you know, that, because that, and I never forget, because I thought, I wouldn't even think. So she was obviously on kind of robot mode, wasn't she, you know, living. But I can see the man talking to his son, you know, while she's giving that back. And I have never told that. I never told the lady that, because for one thing, her husband had only been gone 2 weeks from what she said, you know, and she wasn't in a situation where she needs a medium going, oh, I can see your husband, you know. And that's the same with a lot of people. You can't show off with it, you know, because you can do more harm than good. And also,
I don't mean showing off, but I mean, like, you know, if somebody had to have a message and it was like you're meant to give it to them, would you just ignore that kind of thing, you know?
They will bring them to me in some way, shape or form. They will bring them to me, or they will get their message through. But I would not, if Spirit did that to me, I would not be impressed, and I would not work for them. I have boundaries, and I have, you know, it's always there.
Because some mediums do work like that, don't they? So you see that.
Yeah, I just don't agree with it. I find it, I almost feel like they demean what we stand for, you know, because it's not, if they ask, yes, but not, you don't just give it out. But if I'm drinking, you know, if I'm out or something and people know I'm, oh, can you see anything with me? And I'm like, nope. And even if I can't, because no, I'm not working. You know, like the hairdresser, you wouldn't expect them to do that. You know, you're not going to get your doctor to check your temperature while you're in a pub, are you? You know, so yeah. So I am very disciplined, and I would be very annoyed if they gave me something that would hurt someone. You know, you got to think what religion they could be. You know, if I gave a message to a Catholic out of, you know, say that lady was Catholic, she would think I was a devil. That would hurt her, harm her, rather than empower her. You know, and what we do should comfort and empower, shouldn't it? And inspire, maybe, if you're a teacher. But it's got to be about the people, not about us looking, yay, look at
no, I get that.
Yeah, it drives me mad when I hear, oh, I had a psychic did my nails and told me this and this, you know, if I'm in the nail salon, and it's like, I'm not telling you anything, so don't ask. You know, that's never going to happen with me.
So it's like a time to work and a time not to.
I'm working or I'm not. I can see Abla's nodding, so is David nodding there. Thank you, guys.
I know people should think, you know, I'm open all the time. My neighbor said to me, I'm sorry, Abla, I didn't want to look at you because I was very sad. I said, so what? I don't know. She thought I was feeling her feeling. No way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
What about you, David? Is hard. I mean, you've probably heard the scare story, you know, the stories of the scary people that have no kind of, I don't know, no boundaries, no ethics.
Boundaries at all. No, I think for me, I cemented that into my work from the very, very beginning of my development, is that there's a time and place to give a reading. And like TJ said, when I'm on, and that's it. But I'm off. So, no. Again, and I guess one of the things I said to my guys, I said, look, when I'm not working, I don't want anything. And I think that's probably because for me, I'm not the kind of person to go up to anybody anyway. And the way I look at things is that whatever we do must have value. So there's no value in Spirit giving me something when they know I'm not going to say it to anybody, because I don't want to be slapped in the face or whatever, or whatever. Always told to bugger off. But so that's kind of how I work. So yeah, when I'm not working, I'm not working. So I think, you know, although we are spiritual beings living a physical life, but that's what we're doing though, right? We're living a physical life. So when I'm out doing my shopping or out with the other half or whatever, that's our time together. And Spirit have their time when I'm working. And that's how I kind of look at it.
9 to 5, Monday to Friday almost.
Yeah, definitely. No, you've got to be the only, and I don't give messages, but the only time I like to be nosy is usually at Christmas. If you go into like and this is not product placement, in like John Lewis, where they have a cafe. I've been at Christmas time. If you go there, you can normally find people there, like I normally see older ladies or older gentlemen, and they're sat on their own, and I just have a little look and wait for their other half that's on the other side come and join them, and I'll just sit and watch that. I'm people watching, spirit people watching as well, and that's just really magical to do at Christmas. That's kind of, I always every year at Christmas I'll be in a cafe somewhere looking and just watching spirit come in. But I wouldn't go up and say, oh, your husband's here or your wife.
No, but it's wonderful that you can see it though.
Yeah, it's just that connection is just magic. Yeah. But yeah, no messages, like we said, working, not working, lights on or lights off. Yes.
Get it.
That was a lovely question. Thank you, Abla. Thanks, David. Thank you. Right, aren't you lucky? You've got working mediums in here that have got lots of knowledge as well. Anyone else? One last question before we close. Anyone? Don't we go to bed tonight thinking I wish, or as Maria's only just started her day, early hours of the morning? No? Cool. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed the time? Learned a few things? Yes. It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah. Thanks, Albert. Thank you. I think thanks, Liz. Thank you for joining us as well. I will do another one of these, so keep a lookout. You are on the list, so we all automatically get an email to let you know that we're doing this again, and maybe we'll have some topics. I think we might just do a topic next time, and we'll talk about one thing or another,
Yeah.
And it's
very interesting though to find out. It's very interesting to find out the information from so many different people.
Yeah.
Like, how they felt or the way it is for them,
Yeah, exactly, because we're all individuals. No one wants to be the same. We definitely, as you know, when I teach you, I don't want little TJ clones. That would be awful in the world. You've all got to be individual.
Well, I don't think that would be that bad, actually.
I'm going to keep my eye on you, Daryl. And have you enjoyed this evening? Lovely.
Yes, I have, thank you. I can add one more thing, but I don't know if I put it as a question or not.
Go on, then,
a lot of it's been covered tonight anyway, about self-confidence and belief and trust and all that.
Yeah.
And I quite often speak to somebody in spirit that you know.
Yes.
And I've always believed in what he's told me. Yeah. And in this last week, either I heard it wrong or I made it up in my head, but it's really thrown me, and it's really, I've really lost a lot of trust in it because that answer was wrong. How do I overcome that?
See, that is very difficult. It is difficult, but sometimes what he might be telling you is the truth at that time. So remember the other day when you said, am I speaking to her today? And he said, no, you're not. And he knew that before I did, so remember that. So he is telling you the truth, but it's like I could say to you today, it's going to be sunny tomorrow, and then the weather changes, but I absolutely believe right now in this moment it's going to be sunny tomorrow, and then the weather changes and it rains, so I think sometimes when they get it wrong, when spirit give us information, and even if it's a psychic piece of information as well, remember you've got. So if it was about, say, me and my friend, we're going to go on holiday together. Yes. And spirit have said that. Psychically, I've had a reading. You're going to Australia. Oh, that's nice. And all those things. And then all of a sudden, my friend who I'm supposed to be going with falls out, So I'm like, but spirit told me I was going to Australia with that person, So psychically, I've been told. But it's not just me. I'm supposed to go to Australia, and I'm supposed to go to Australia with a friend. Because I've got it in my mind, that's the friend I'm going with who has now let me down. I'm thinking spirit have let me down, or psychically I've been let down. But actually, there's so many different facets to it, isn't it? It's not just about me, it's about me and that person. And maybe other people are involved as well. There's COVID happened and we all got locked up, so that was never, we weren't expecting that, were we? Well, they were, but you know what I mean? Other influences can change an outcome very, very quickly. So don't be disappointed with him. Whatever he told you, he believed at that moment in time.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I would say outside influences have changed the direction of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he wouldn't have known at that particular time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They won't let you down, darling. They love you.
Thank you.
Okay. On that note,
thanks very much.
Yes, thank
Brilliant.
you all. Thank you so much. Thank you for spending time with me. I've really enjoyed it, so I hope you did. And it's lovely to see some new faces and some older faces. Not old, Sue, just people I've known for a while. That's
Thanks.
So I hope I get to see some of you again soon. And until then, take care. Lots of love, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.